Welcome to Aikido for Emotions. Today, I'm going to talk about the Anderson model. This is a unique and different way of thinking about emotions that allows us to get results. Now, I started working with emotions as a coach and a person way back in 1975, thereabouts. That's getting close to 50 years ago. And one of the most important things I discovered real early on is that talking about emotions the way most of us do, whether we talk about sadness or joy or hope or grief, whatever it is, talking about the emotion doesn't change it. We can't talk it away. We can't talk it stronger. It just stays the same. We talk about it a lot. We get to know it well, but it doesn't change anything. Now, around that time, I started studying something called neurolinguistic programming. And one of the questions that people would often ask is, where in your body do you feel that? And it always had an answer. And I started to understand at that point that the emotion, the subjective experience of an emotion, and visceral feelings in our body, visceral sensations in our bodies are connected. And if I started listening to what clients and friends were saying, it almost seemed like they were talking about something real, something tangible, like, oh, this thing is weighing me down. It feels like a terrible burden. Oh my God, I feel like I'm spinning out of control. Now, one of the things I learned real early on is that when people use turns of phrase like spinning out of control, this is weighing me down, they're not just making up those words at random. They actually mean something, they represent something. I started asking people and digging a little deeper into what they were talking about. And I realized that no, this is not just a way of talking. They were creating within themselves a sort of thing that represented the physiological response they had to the emotion. And as I worked on this more and more, I started to understand that, wait a minute, I had that what I just said put the cart before the horse, that the emotion, their subjective experience of the emotion was responding to the visceral sensations that they were describing to me. Now, that was almost half a century ago, and I've been working with this for a long time, tweaking here, exploring there, trying this, trying that. I've tried a lot of new and unusual things. One of my trademarks is do weird things because they often generate incredibly valuable results. So I'm sharing that half a century worth of experience with you now in this course. There is magic here. And the magic is that what I call the Anderson model actually generates results, unlike talk. Talking about emotions the way we usually do requires thinking about them in a way that's quite different than the Anderson model calls for. In the Anderson model, we take and gather a lot of information about where in your body this is, how big is it, if it had a color, what color would that be, what shape does this sensation take, is it moving, is it warm, is it cool, all sorts of things like this. And the effective result is that we shift from direct physiological responses like blood pressure and muscle tension to something that's partly physiology and partly symbol. And as we make that symbol more vivid, the magic comes from the reality that once we have that sensation in the form of a symbol, we can change it. We can take a cold thing and make it warm. We can take a small thing and make it big. We can take a heavy thing and make it light. We can take something that's here and move it to here. All of those changes are easy for people to do. And the magic lies in the reality that when we change the symbolic version of the sensation, the emotion changes. And it's incredible. This produces amazingly powerful results. Typically, in the course of 10 to 30 minutes, I can have people take control of an emotion. And the way we're using it in this course is to teach people that you have control of emotions. Not what most people think, including most psychologists and psychiatrists, that emotions control the people, but people, you and me, have control of our own emotions. And that, to me, is exciting. That's magic. And now let's continue with the course and put that magic into practice.